Hello, and welcome to Backpacking Basics. This is a project that's been in the back of my head for quite a while, just now getting around to doing it. This is the introduction video, and basically what I want to do is just kind of go over a lot of the items I carry. This isn't meant to be a kind of a comprehensive, this is what you need. It's more meant to just give you an idea of what I carry and what you may or may not need. To start out with, this pack is actually packed for a trip I'm leaving for here in 2 days. It is a simple, quick, one-night trip. Temperature during the day is high 70s, supposed to be low 50s at night. There's a 30% chance of rain, but I'm not overly concerned about it. I don't really think it's going to happen, but if it does, I am prepared for it. Alright, I suppose I will start with the items I actually carry on my person while I hike, and then we'll journey onto the pack. First thing, Swiss Army knife. The uses for this knife are kind of limited to your imagination. I mean, it's always been a very handy tool to have, so I always carry it. I always have some form of, lighter, fire starter in my pocket. This one is the fire steel, and just throw sparks. If you know how to use one of these and you've put the time and effort into, building up your skill and getting efficient with one, they're a great tool to have with you. However, if you don't know how to use one, you haven't put the work into it, carrying one is more or less a novelty at best and incredibly frustrating if you actually need to use it. So if you're going to carry one, I highly recommend you learn how to use it. Alright, next, compass. This is just a very simple, small base plate compass. A lot of times, if I'm just following a trail and I'm in an area I know, I'll just wear a wrist compass. But however, if I'm doing something more complicated where I'm actually going to be off-trail navigating, I may take this or even something more advanced. Next, and this is probably the most important thing I carry on me, is my little emergency kit. And inside of this kit, it has generally what I would need to survive if something bad happened. And my entire philosophy, I guess, around the way I built this kit was I wanted something that had enough to actually be useful, but small enough that it could always be in my pocket and I would never have any excuse to leave it behind in camp or in the car or whatever. I suppose the major things to mention that are in here, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's a small button compass right there, so that gives me a spare compass just in case something happens to my original. Combined with the fire steel I keep in my pocket, I will have 3 methods of starting fire in here. Plus, I also have several different types of tinder to aid in getting that fire going. Because if you're cold and wet, you don't want to mess around. Other item in here that's important, I have an emergency blanket. It's kind of sandwiched in there. And back here, I keep my insurance card, my identification, and a little bit of spare cash, just in case I need it. Alright, that covers pretty much everything that goes in my pockets. I don't like to have a lot of stuff in there. I find it uncomfortable when I'm hiking. Alright, now onto the pack. In this shoulder, it's a military compass pouch. I keep my GPS. It gives me, it'll be on my left shoulder, gives me pretty quick access to it, so I can check it for reference if I need to. These are pacing beads. I don't always take them, but I enjoy using them. I like practicing, keeping myself well practiced on them so that I can use them when I need them. If you don't know how to use them or you have no desire to learn how to use them, you don't need them. Next is the water bladder hose. I'm a really big fan of the water bladders. I love them, especially when it's hot out, because then you don't have to stop and get the water bottle out of your pocket and everything. You can just drink as you go. And I find I keep myself better hydrated when I do that. A couple of things to mention that I've done here is, one of the things I always drove me nuts is, if you don't have it attached to something, it just flops all over the place. And if you have it attached to something, then to try and drink, it's constricted. This is what's called a Grimlock, and it just, one hand, you can pop it open, you have full access to it, and when you're done, you just snap it back together. Alright, and since we're already on the subject of water, let me just move along right to here. This is my water filler. I always try and keep it on an outside pocket, for pretty much mainly because on this bladder I have what's called a HydroLink, which allows you to plug the filter straight into this and pump right back into the bladder. So I don't even have to take my pack off to fill it up, and that's wonderful. Come to you're at the bottom of a hill, you come to a water source, fill up, and keep walking. Let's see. And on this side, I always take a fixed blade knife. This one right here is a Mora. The sheath and everything, it weighs just under 3 ounces, so you really don't have much of an excuse to leave it behind. And a fixed blade knife is arguably one of the most important tools that you can have out in the wilderness. If you know how to use one, that's just about all you need to survive. So it's, for me personally, they're important. Others may disagree. If you don't know how to use it, you're just hauling a piece of steel. Okay. Next, first aid kit. Now, first aid kit you carry is going to change dramatically depending on the nature of the trip, or at least for me, it changes dramatically depending on the nature of the trip. If I'm going with a lot of people that are inexperienced, I'll take more. I'll take more stuff with me. If I take my kids, I take a ton of Band-Aids, because they're at the age where a Band-Aid fixes everything. But some of the key points for a first aid kit is you want to have it marked so that anybody can look at it and go, that is a first aid kit. There's no second thought. So if you're hurt over, if you're hurt 50 yards over that way, and you tell them to go get your kit, someone can come up to this, look at it, and go, that is the kit. Another reason for keeping it on the outside. Another thing, those Grimlock clip that I keep for the bladder, I also have them on this. So it can quickly and easily be detached, and I can take it wherever I need to go. It's got a nice little carry handle. Right, well, that covers pretty much everything that I carry and everything that goes on the outside of the pack. In the next video, we'll actually dive into the pack and cover the contents of the pack. Alright, well, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something, and come and watch part 2. Alright, thank you. Have a good day.